Thank you, Abraham. This is such an honor. Today has just been awesome. Everyone's had such wonderful questions, and I've been on the path of following you for the last couple of years, and
we'd like to clarify that. We don't want you to follow us. We want you to follow you. It's fine that we're over there where you really are, but it's you that you're reaching for, you see.
Yes.
Can't count on us. We might not show up. Oh, we're always there, but you get the point.
I do. My question to you is, I'm learning so much about the oneness and how we're all connected, and when we do, as you say, our croaking experience occurs, we just simply go from physical to non-physical, and it's a wonderful, beautiful thing. So why is it all of the Christian people that I have as friends are so, everything, if it's not in the Bible, they don't believe it's the truth, and they think things like this, they think it's very weird.
Don't worry about it, because about everything is in the Bible.
But
the Bible is full of metaphysical experiences. The Bible is full of explanations of this sort.
I think that, but when I try to tell them, the people I was telling I was coming here thought I was weird. And then, can you tell me about heaven and hell? Is there a heaven and hell, or did man create that?
It is man's perspective. The only hell that exists anywhere in the universe is the hell that is created by someone who is focused in a way, and in that moment not allowing themselves to be who they are. And when they croak, that won't happen.
Gotcha.
So it must only be right here. It's a perceptual thing. It's the same feeling of bondage. It's the same feeling of absence of freedom. It's suffocating. It's not letting myself be who I am. But it's a self-induced thing. Only you can pinch yourself off from you.
Right.
There are so many flawed premises that so many people are touting. It is extraordinary that people would think that they could punish someone into alignment, or that the path to all that they claim heaven to be would be through restriction and judgment. They have assigned to God characteristics of disconnected humans. They make God jealous, and they make God demanding, and they make God displeased with you. And every time they think those thoughts, they feel awful, because those thoughts are so contrary to who they really are and what they really know. They have given up their own personal guide to God for a book.
Well, I'm feeling myself pulling so away from so many people that...
Well, don't pull away from them. Just go where you're going. And first of all, when you try to answer questions that aren't being asked, you are just asking for trouble. So unless they're asking you, don't try to explain it. And further, you can really tone down the weirdness in which they see you by just living the example of what you know. When you tune into Source, you glow. You just glow. And when you are glowing from that connection, if they're not in the vicinity of glowing, they're not talking to you anyway.
Right, right.
So when you put a bushel over your glow and walk back over there in your darkness to try to lead them back out of the light, you can't lead them, because neither one of you are bright enough. You're over there in the dark corner together, you see. Stay out in the light and just glow. And what will happen? As you thrive, they may say, "How are you thriving?" And you may say, "I've discovered that I'm worthy." And they'll say, "How do you know?" And you say, "I can just feel it." And they'll say, "Well, how do you really know?" You say, "Do you really want to know?" I had an experience, a personal experience. I connected with what I know is Source. When Esther decided to tell her mother about us, we didn't encourage it, because we knew her mother wasn't ready to hear it. But when Esther tried to explain us to her mother tried to do an exorcism on Esther. Her mother felt fearful that Esther was tapping into something. And then Esther just continued to say to her mother, "Nothing that feels this good can be bad. Nothing that feels like love can be bad. Nothing that feels like clarity and vitality and well-being. I've never felt such appreciation flow through me. I understand every religion from a deep inside point of view. I love all people. When I get into this vibration of love, I think I feel like that which we all have been calling God must feel. This cannot be wrong. And no one can refute that sort of feeling. When you are in tune with source and radiating love, no one can accuse you of evil. They just can't. It's illogical. And if they are still accusing you of evil when you are in that alignment, then they're so far out of range that they can't hear you and you can't hear them, and you shouldn't ought to be talking to them anyway. You're just making each other uncomfortable, you see. When you teach through the clarity of your example, when you thrive, when you don't try to explain it, you just live it. That's what Esther discovered, because she didn't want her parents to be uncomfortable, so she just lived it. And her father said to her one day, just don't go off the deep end. Just don't go off the deep end. And Esther said, I'm okay, Daddy. I'm okay. And then they didn't have to talk about it anymore. Then Esther didn't try to save them because they didn't need saving. And they kept trying to save her, but it didn't do any good. And Esther never did anything that made them feel uncomfortable about where she was. In other words, she didn't try to force feed it to them. She just accepted that they were where they are, and she knew that in their reemerging into non-physical, that they would know the fullness of who they are and the fullness of who she is. You see, you don't have anything to prove to anyone. Just be who you are, and when you really practice being who you are, it's evident to anyone who will benefit from you. Because when you get over there in the vortex, this is so worth knowing in relationship to this explicit question. When you get in the vortex where you are, where source is, where all that is good is, you only have access to those that are in the vortex with you. Isn't that weird? Well, shouldn't I get out and go get some of them? It doesn't work that way. When you get out, you're not in there. And when you're not in there, you have nothing to give. And when you have nothing to give, you're just annoying to them. So just get in the vortex and thrive, and let your works be your message. Let what they see be your message. You teach through the clarity of your example, you see. And oh, what a glorious life it is. How wonderful it is that you get to bang around together and come to new conclusions of what you want. How good it is. And how appreciative all that we are is. We are appreciative of that which you are living, because you have created the vortex where we all stand. It is exhilarating to be here in this leading edge place, appreciating your willingness to put it here, you see. And so we will forever sing your praises. We will forever know your value, but we can't sing it loud enough that you can hear it if you're not in the vortex. You got to get in there. You got to care about how you feel. And when you get in there, we'll all sing and thrive. And those not in there with us will say, where'd they go? Because law of attraction won't line you up with them anymore. It's not that you have to save them. They don't need to be saved. Eventually, something will call them toward their alignment. No one will feel joy until they get in the vortex, you see. But you can't drag them in there.